Hey, I'm Sarah, and this is the Goddess in Training podcast. This isn't about being perfect or polished or having it all figured out. This is about what happens when you actually start listening to your body, your intuition, your patterns, your truth. I'm asking big questions and having real conversations, sometimes messy and sometimes magical, with people who've lived through it, grown through it, and still don't have all the answers. If you've ever doubted yourself, betrayed your gut, or wondered if you're the only one, you're not. Let's talk about it. Welcome back to Goddess in Training, where we explore the wild, intuitive, and often messy magic of becoming who we really are. Today's episode is one that's been brewing for a while, and I'm so glad it finally came together. I'm joined by the wise and radiant Darcy Flierl, a licensed clinical social worker, leadership coach, business owner, and retreat leader who brings decades of experience and deep personal insight to her work with women in transition. Darcy and I sat down to talk about what really happens during perimenopause and menopause. Not just the hot flashes and hormone shifts, but the spiritual initiation that this season of life can bring. We talk about the unraveling, the rage, the return of old wounds, and how so many women discover their intuition and true power precisely when they feel like everything is falling apart. We also explore how trauma and attachment wounds can resurface in midlife, how relationships get tested, and sometimes strengthened, through this transformation, and why Darcy believes midlife is actually a portal to our deepest wisdom. She's the creator of From Crown to Crone Retreat, a space for women to reclaim their worth, honor their cycles, and re-enter their lives with clarity, connection, and power. We talk yoni steaming, swinger cruises, hormone pellets, invisible women, and the raw beauty of claiming your crown. So settle in, maybe grab a cup of tea, and let this be a reminder. You're not crazy, you're not broken, and you're definitely not alone. You might just be in the middle of a sacred initiation. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Goddess in Training. Thanks so much for joining us. Today, I am with my friend Darcy Flierl. And Darcy and I met at a conference a few months ago and been trying to connect. And finally, we're connecting. And I'm so excited to talk with you more, Darcy.
Thank you.
It's so good to see you.
I'm excited to be here too. Yeah.
So tell me more about your journey. So you've been an educator and a leadership coach, right? Tell me more about how all of those things came together in your life and where you are right now.
Well, I'm actually a licensed clinical social worker, and I consider myself a social worker first. And it has all been kind of started just by chance. I've leaned into the opportunities that have come my way. My life has not been very thought out or strategic. So I've gotten really good at recognizing when opportunity is knocking and then deciding at that point, is that a door I want to go through? Well, it's funny. I originally wanted to be a teacher and I couldn't pass college algebra. So
Sucks.
yeah. And you know what? They wouldn't let me major in education without college algebra. So my guidance counselor said, you'd make a great social worker. So I thought, okay, I'll do that. And so I became a social worker. And after getting my degree in social work, ironically, I got a job teaching. So it's funny how the universe works.
Yeah.
And there's more than one way to get to where you want to go. But after a couple years of that, I realized I'm not very good at bureaucracy and working in systems. And so I moved and somebody said to me, why don't you get a master's degree? And it turns out I could get a master's in a year with a bachelor's in social work and get a master's.
Oh, wow.
So I did that. I got a master's degree. And when I moved again, someone said, why don't you become a therapist? There's this place over here that will hire you and train you. And so I did. Then I struggled with that feeling of, what is it called when you think you're like a fraud?
Oh, imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
I had it so bad.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I felt scared, honestly, for my
Really?
clients. And so I stayed with it to get my license. but after a while I bailed and I opened up a coffee shop for a little bit. And so I
Okay.
got a lot of business experience through that. And, but apparently there's not a lot of money in organic coffee. So
Unless you're Starbucks.
unless you're Starbucks,
Yeah.
it's hard to compete, right?
Yeah.
And so from there, I needed a job, and I ended up getting into community organization, and that kind of changed the whole trajectory of my life. And that's where I really got the leadership experience. Imposter syndrome again, because
Really?
oh, for sure, I really just kind of always been a hippie chick. I love music, love traveling, and then here I was in this position where it was my job to keep a community of kids off of alcohol and drugs. And I thought, shoot, I used to party pretty hard. Am I a hypocrite? Should I be doing this? And then it turns out that I actually knew a lot about what it took to keep kids off alcohol and drugs.
Right.
And I learned so much. And through that process, I ended up getting another position where I was working in domestic violence. And it turned out that the organization wasn't a good fit, is the nicest way for me to put it.
Been there, yeah.
Yeah. And I quit spontaneously and had an oh shit moment. What am I going to do now? And then I remembered I was a licensed therapist. I was like, I guess I'm going to hang a shingle. Yeah. And I went into private practice, and I've been doing it for 10 years.
Oh my God. I love that story so much. And so now that you're a therapist again, are you feeling like you have imposter syndrome again or no?
No, I feel really rooted and confident now. I also understand that I don't have to know it all. And if I have good mentors and good support and colleagues, which I do, it's hard when you're in private practice, because when you work in nonprofits and organizations, you can walk into another room and say, hey, I've got this issue with this client, or I don't know how to handle this. It's hard when you're alone. You're kind of an island.
Right.
But so it's important to have resources and people to call, and I feel more confident now. As a matter of fact, now I'm considered a qualified supervisor, so I am helping raise other clinicians and
it's amazing.
and supervising them.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's absolutely amazing. And so you're focusing a lot on perimenopause and menopause. I think the thing that drew me to your booth was your sign about your retreat called From Crown to Crone. And I just love that name so much. Tell me more about focusing on this population of women.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny. I'm 51 years old, and I am about 6 years into the perimenopausal process now. But I didn't really know I was perimenopausal for a couple years. I just thought I was batshit crazy. And found myself back in therapy, doing a lot of deep work myself, and doing a lot of shadow work and parts work and ego state work and researching. And that's when I found out, I was like, oh, wait, there's more going on. There's a hormonal piece that's driving this, and this is biology. And my daughter's old boyfriend said to me, I was complaining about perimenopause, and he said, oh yeah, my mom said that it's your second puberty. And for that was like a light bulb for me. I'm like, oh, that really is. This is very much like that, the highs and the lows. And they also say that if you had a really tumultuous adolescence, which I did, that your perimenopausal experience might be more difficult.
Interesting. Why do you think that might be?
I think it's trauma.
Yeah.
I think it's trauma. I also think it's a spiritual opportunity, though, to heal all of those things that maybe you thought you did the work, but there's some loose ends left.
Yeah.
And it's a time to complete the work so you can enter that next phase in life really free.
So many women go through transformation spiritually and I think discover gifts that they might not have known that they had when they're going through this period of time of midlife. And it makes me think about it being a rite of passage. And now people are starting to talk about it a little bit more, but it's more in the sense of what can we do to suppress this time? How can we fix us? How can we be fixed? What can we inject in ourselves to fix this period of time? Instead of really honoring the transition that we're going through and viewing it as a way to enter into a new era of ourselves. Talk a little bit about that, because it sounded like your retreat was really leaning into that, like leaning into honoring this period of time in our lives.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess I want to say that I think you can do both,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can get the assistance and the help with whether it's through supplements or hormonal replacements and all of that stuff, but also honoring it, being kind to ourselves, giving ourselves grace, finding connection with one another. When I realized what I was going through, I worked the word perimenopause into every conversation I could. I don't care if you were the clerk at the grocery store or a random woman at the dog park. If you were female, if you had a vagina, I was going to talk to you about perimenopause because I wanted people to know. I wanted people to know that and normalize it. Right? So,
yeah, it's so needed still, because people really never talk about it at all. I don't think I've talked to my mom really about her experience, and I have an older sister, and we haven't really talked too much about if she's experiencing anything. I guess on the individual level, obviously talking to people a lot about this, but do you have a sense of what can we do to kind of elevate these discussions in broader society?
well, I think just you asking me this and us having that conversation is the start. When I think about my career, I have been a clinician now for 20 years, and the different things I'm passionate about is usually because I've been through it, right? So I got divorced. I wanted to work with people who've been divorced. I was raising a daughter. I wanted to help with parenting. And then that's kind of where I am now with the perimenopause. A lot of Hollywood stars, right?
That's true.
There's a lot of people. Halle Berry, I think, is a person who's a leader, and Instagram and Facebook, and now there's books, and people are studying and talking about it. Matter of fact, I was just listening to a podcast with Mel Robbins, and she had somebody on there, and I just learned this tidbit of information that 6 generations ago, 57 was the lifespan of a female, right? And if the average age of perimenopause is 51 or menopause, so we before we were dying, right? It was this cycle. Now we're living longer. So, and we're really just, I think, at the beginning. But it's about talking about it and vulnerability. Vulnerability is big, right? With any kind of issue that we're working on, if it's for healing or recovering from something, if we are afraid to talk about it, then we don't allow space for other people to open up and talk about it. It creates shame. I'd love to tell people about my period. I haven't had one since November, but it got bad. And so I would love to talk to people about that because I wanted to normalize that. There were so many moments when there was so much embarrassment in public places and not knowing how to manage that. And that's just the physical part. There's the mood and the anxiety and the emotions and the impact that estrogen has on our dopamine.
Talk a little bit more about that. What kinds of varied experiences are women having during perimenopause and menopause?
One thing that people talk about, right, are the hot flashes.
Right.
And then your sleep is disrupted. And then you're moody because you haven't slept. But that was the one symptom I didn't have was hot flashes.
Okay.
And I had other things like restless leg syndrome, and I had anxiety. I had sensitivity to sound, to light, to smells. And all of that can really, like if you're feeling overwhelmed, you're having sensory overload, that can create anxiety that you don't understand. Oh my gosh, there's so many symptoms.
Yeah, right.
So many. And then there's the physical. Then there's the dry skin and then the hair falling out or the dry hair and now you're changing and shifting. And this is one thing I noticed too is when I was younger, I had low self-esteem. I was very promiscuous. And so the self-esteem I had was based on the attention from men.
External validation. Yeah, yeah.
I go through perimenopause and become invisible in society. It's wild to walk in a room and no longer be seen.
Really? Why do you think that's the case? I mean, why do you feel that way?
I don't know. It's a strange thing that happens that where I don't know, there's younger, prettier people. You're now a ma'am, not a miss. You're not turning heads. You're not getting that external validation. So like if I could give a message to all women is find your worth outside of how people respond to you.
That's really, really interesting. For a long time, I was in the swinger community, actually, which was a really interesting place to be. And the reason why I bring this up is because I would go on these cruises, and the age range would actually veer older than me. Like there were a whole lot of people, couples in their 50s, 60s, 70s. And so when you said that, I just kind of had like this weird response, because I was like, really? Like, I know all of these women who are postmenopausal who are like out there getting it.
Oh my gosh.
And so I'm like, that just was so mind-boggling to me, actually, because I'm like, oh, like I've seen women who walk in the room and are like the center of attention, and where they are in their cycle of life really has nothing to do with that.
Okay,
actually.
could you please send me the website, because I want to find these women and talk to them, because another part of what my journey was the orgasm. So if we're going to go there, I mean, it would be a lot of work for very little outcome. It was like,
really? Okay.
And it was, and so that's frustrating too. And that's another thing people don't talk about. So then you think, okay, do I have, female impotence or whatever? Because even, sexually it's impacted too.
Well, from what I have seen, that is not something that happens completely across the board, because I have seen women have full pleasure
at all ages.
At all ages.
And
all ages.
And but are they taking?
I have heard that it is popular to get the injectables, like the seeds.
The pellets.
Yeah. Do you know anything about the pellets? That I don't know anything other than I know a lot of people who take them.
And what I know about them is that they are not FDA approved.
Okay.
And they, many women who take them love them. And it's estrogen, it's progesterone, it's testosterone. Testosterone is really going to help with the sex drive. The issue with pellets is once it's injected, it takes 3 to 4 months for them to dissolve. And so if you have any issues, there's no adjusting it.
Oh, I see.
Right. So for me, I resisted hormones for a long time until my brain fog got really difficult. And so I have started progesterone. I have started estradiol patch. And that's really helped on all levels, but they're adjustable. So you can get an increase, you can get a decrease.
Right. You can play around with it a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. That seems like a safer route to go, rather than like diving headfirst into the hormonal pool.
I will say though, all my friends on the pellets, love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. And for many reasons.
That when I heard people talking about it, it was kind of glowing recommendations all around. I kind of believe that physical symptoms are more often than not a manifestation of something emotional, something that we need to heal spiritually, emotionally. How do you feel about that and the varied things that people can experience during menopause?
Well, I mean, we definitely have the mind-body connection at whatever stage in life we're at, right? So our body can impact our mind can impact our body.
You said something along the lines of like, if you had a tumultuous adolescence, then you kind of experienced that again. And it makes me think that maybe there's some aspect of this where if you're thinking about somebody's overall healing journey, like if you were given some lessons during adolescence, during a time of transition, and you didn't fully understand and heal, you're in another period of time that has heightened intensity because of the physical aspects that are going on inside of your body. And it's a time where you're almost like forced to confront these things again. And it's another chance to kind of force these things to the surface and deal with these emotional aspects that you may not have dealt with in your life previous.
Well, I don't think that we don't have to force it. It will come, right? And sometimes when we have trauma, we have this hypervigilance about us where we might be activated or get activated from different situations. And as a therapist and as a person, I use a lot of therapeutic use of self. So I'll just tell you that for me, what was happening in my marriage, I had a really great marriage. I still have a great marriage. It's better now. Strangely, probably because of perimenopause. But what happened is I started becoming deeply insecure, and it was as though those attachment wounds from those early years were getting activated, and I was needing a lot of that validation. Have sex with the same person forever and rely on that one person to give you all the validation that you used to get from the world, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of responsibility for him. But what happened was it brought me back to understanding those early childhood wounds because the relationship was like a mirror for me. And I was getting activated and I was needing that attention. I was needing reassurance. He was going, what is going on? Like, I'm not doing anything wrong.
Right.
I would feel insecure. Are you looking at her? We'd be in a public place and I would literally look for threats. I would scope the room. Who's the prettiest girl in the room? Is she a threat to me? Does she want my husband? Does my husband want her? And it took me down this place, and it's so weird that connects with hormones, but I wasn't like that in my marriage before.
Yeah.
It was here I was at 45, suddenly, I don't know, just feeling threatened all the time. And so through that work is how I went back to therapy. First, I tried to make it his problem.
Well, it's easier. I mean, that's the natural human thing to do. Yeah.
You're doing this and why aren't you doing that? And you need to do this and you need to do that. And then finally I realized, like, no, this is my shit and I need to look at it. And so through that journey, I learned about attachment theory, learned about attachment wounds. I learned about like my younger part and what she was needing. I learned about the window of tolerance and hypervigilance and I'm kind of going off in all these places, but
Yeah.
I didn't have to look for it. Like it hit me like a truck out of nowhere. And now fast forward, here we are 6 years forward. We went to therapy together. My husband knows more about female hormones than he ever wanted or to learn, right? But we're in such a better place. And now I know, like, actually, I'm not even really getting activated anymore.
That's a beautiful story because that's something that could break a marriage. I mean, very, very easily.
And it does.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of divorces in middle age, and I think it is rooted in perimenopause and hormones and lack of tolerance. You know, I would become so intolerant too. That was the next stage.
Okay.
That was the next stage. So after I became insecure, I don't give a fuck.
Okay. Yeah.
And I kind of liked that stage, and yeah, it's a lack of tolerance. So how it works in my practice, and this is kind of circle back what you had asked me a few minutes ago. You know, before I went through it, and middle-aged and older women would come into my practice and they'd have certain issues. Never in my mind did it enter that there could be a biological, physiological thing. Even depression and anxiety between the ages of 45 and 55 are diagnosed more at that age than any age for depression and anxiety.
That makes sense.
But until I went through it, I didn't really know. It's kind of like I used to work in addictions, and there's a lot of folks who are in recovery who wouldn't want to work with a therapist that wasn't an addict.
That makes sense.
But we were trained to say, well, we don't have to experience your problem to know how to treat your problem. And in theory, yeah, we should be skilled enough and should be able to help people with a variety of problems, because we can't experience everything that a human might experience. But now that I'm a little older and I'm looking back, and I realize, like, walking the walk and living it really does create a whole different
level of empathy and understanding of how complex these things are, and to not diminish things and kind of like, bring it down to these, tiny sound bites, because these things are so complex. So talk a little bit about intuition. I can imagine as you're going through perimenopause and menopause and you're on this roller coaster ride, and your experience of that you just explained, being suspicious of other people and not knowing your own self-worth and self-confidence. And I can imagine that any trust that you had in your intuition before that may be really compromised, because now you're like, I don't know what is real. So how do you, and how have people that you've worked with confronted that in the moment, and then also learned how to trust your intuition again after?
Yeah, it really is like a relearning. I know there were times in my own experience where I just thought, like, I don't know my head from my ass. I don't know up from down. I don't trust myself. Is it him? Is it me? Your intuition, I think you said it beautifully, can really be compromised. So, it's a hard question, because I think it takes time. It takes slowing down and having conversations with yourself. I think there's actual activities that you could do with yourself to slow down and to explore through journaling, through meditation. Again, that parts work, kind of identifying what part of you is feeling activated and what is it needing. And then asking yourself, is it my adult self, my wise self that's leading here, or is it that younger wounded? It creates really mindfulness and being aware, and you have to know yourself. It's a process.
Yeah. Going back to what you said about your husband, how he now knows everything about hormones. I mean, how can men be, and husbands and partners, be supportive of women going through this period of time? Because it sounds like he was amazing. I mean, there's so many different choices he could have made. He could have been like, where is my wife? Why? She's not the same person. And then turn away and take some other opportunity. But he stuck with you and stood by your side and went to therapy and learned. And it's just so beautiful to see, to hear about what happened. In what ways can people be supportive?
Well, men, they need to know. If you are a man and you are married to a woman, or you know a woman, or you're a dad, or a brother, yeah, you need to know. We need men to be learning, and they can help remove the stigma too, and normalize normalize these fluctuations. I really admire my husband for I don't know, putting his ego down, because there were times he was frustrated and mad.
I'm sure
that he didn't want to be dealing with this.
Yeah.
It's like, why can't you just be normal, right?
Yeah.
But I think he recognized it made our marriage stronger to do it, to do the work. And I think he takes pride in that. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And of course, he probably knows a lot more about feelings than he wants to, too, being married to a therapist. It was really funny. One time, a girlfriend of mine heard us having an argument, and it was just very like, well, I really don't like it when you say that because it's making me feel this way. And he's like, well, I don't like it when, it was just very polite. And rational. And she was like, so this is what it's like being married to a therapist. We fight a little differently. But I also know that not all men can do that. I had a husband before that just didn't have. It takes a level of emotional depth, right? It takes emotional intelligence. And so just kind of circle back a little bit with dealing with the hormones and the mental health piece of it. And I mentioned just briefly, but mindfulness to me is the foundation for good mental health. And without mindfulness and awareness, you won't know what's happening. So your body is always giving you clues.
Right.
And whether it's through a change of your body temperature or your heart rate is increased or your palms are a little sweaty, your body is telling you something. Being aware of those changes and then taking a pause and asking yourself, like, what's happening? What do I need right now?
Yeah. And dealing with things before they kind of snowball into something bigger, which happens so frequently. Going back to the name of your retreat, from Crone to Crown, I wonder, and just thinking about how to normalize this period of time, I think it boils down to needing to honor women more than we do in the society in general, and honoring all of the experiences only women have. I feel like in birth and even in adolescence and beginning menstruation, what my daughter experiences now in talking about her periods is a lot more open than it was when I was her age, for sure. Like, she is very open talking to her friends and her boyfriend about those things. I don't think I talk to anybody about any of those things. So, and I love the name too, because like, no, this is not a deficiency. Like, this is inherent to who we are as human beings. And why can't we honor these things? And so talk a little bit more about what went into that name, because it sounds like that's kind of what you were trying to get at, that we should be celebrating ourselves.
Yeah, so that the whole concept of crone to crown is really, let's not demonize getting older. Let's own it. There's so much beauty and wisdom with the aging process, and becoming a crone and putting a crown on it, for me, is about really coming to terms with my struggling self-esteem. Because I realized that, okay, so I'm not always going to have my looks to rely on. And so I need more substance. I need to know what I'm made of. And I need to know how to take care of myself. And there's something that with aging with women, we're so full of wisdom and knowledge, and we have this opportunity to help our younger sisters and make space for them and be empowering and own our own power in that process. So it really is, I think, about like a shedding, right? We're like in this meat suit. And we're in a society that says we're only worthy when we can have babies, right? That's where our worth is. But the truth is, and I don't want to get all feminist, but like, women are amazing. We are so amazing. And I think we're in a society that has made us competitive with each other and scared of each other, and where we have to compete for resources, men, because once upon a time we needed them to survive, but we don't anymore. And I believe the society has kind of set us up in that way, because if we knew how righteous we are, the patriarchy would be gone. Right? I mean, women are just amazing. So from crone to crown, it really is about putting that on and owning that inherent power that we hold, and that it's not about it's not about the power of the pussy, if you will, like that we embrace when we're younger. And it's so funny because I didn't know that I had that power when I was younger. Like I kind of knew, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
And until it was gone. And then
Darcy, it is not gone.
I don't know why I know. I need to go on that cruise. God, I need to go on that cruise. It's different. It's different. You haven't reached that. You haven't walked into a room yet and been invisible, have you?
I don't think you're actually.
Well, I'm not. I'm not, especially when I put on my crown. I guess it depends if I go in as a crone or if I have my crown. But yeah, it's an experience.
I think that, I mean, so much of attraction is about energy. Actually, attraction is about energy, period.
Yeah, that's true.
And in being in that world, that is what I learned because, and it allowed me to learn about my power and that my power and my attraction really has nothing to do with what I look like. It is what level my energy is at.
And I think you're describing why it's crone to crown.
Yeah.
Because it is going from that shit, I've got wrinkles, my skin is dry, my hair is gray, to realizing, oh wait, it's my energy. You just described it perfectly.
Because on these cruises, there were lots of women who had a lot of plastic surgery and beautiful, beautiful, beautiful people. And it didn't matter. And, the most beautiful people would still be attracted to me. Like if I'm frumpy and like, too much alcohol, like I've seen the pictures. Not that great. Objectively, but it's about energy. And I think that the more that women understand our power and understand that the thing that I've been sitting with a lot recently is that we are a portal in a way, and our pussies are a portal in a way.
Sure.
And men may not be fully aware of what's happening during sex, but we are opening up. We are lowering the veil for them and giving them a glimpse of the divine. I'm going way far out. Sorry, listeners, who are not ready to go here. But this is what I've been discovering more and more. And actually, this is part of the reason why I've left that community, because I realized that was happening. And I was like, oh, wait, I'm giving this gift to Joe Schmo. Like, why does Joe Schmo deserve that gift?
Right.
And I started becoming much more selective about who I was sharing that power with. And as I did that and I brought it back into myself rather than throwing it all over the place, it allowed me to gain more of my own power too. We are extremely powerful. And where we are in our life cycle really has nothing to do with that. And yeah, I mean, maybe everybody should go on a swinger cruise, because you will see, like 80 plus, I will tell you, women who are like grandma, and who are owning their power and getting out there and just throwing their femininity around in the way that they want to. And it's not in this, when you get to be that age, I think it's very unlikely that it's something where you're like, in your teenage years, like being coerced into things. Like it is fully a choice. When you're 80 years old and you're doing it because you're having fun. Really.
Yeah. Wow, I have a new life goal.
I mean, Everybody.
For 80, though. Not till 80. I always say that I'm going to become a cigarette smoker again at 70. And then I'll become a swinger at 80. I'm all for it.
The point is, though, is like there are no limits to our power and to our beauty and to our attractiveness.
Right.
So anyway, that's just my public service announcement for today.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's, when you go through the perimenopausal phase in life, right? So it's a little bit about that external piece. How am I showing up?
Yeah.
But then it really is, how am I feeling?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're fatigued, and you're ready for a nap by 1, and you don't have access to your vocabulary, like words literally disappear. I spent about 3 years playing charades during conversations. I'm like, what is that word? It sounds like it's 3 syllables. And it really impacts your self-esteem when you can't have fluid conversations.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if part of it too is, as you alluded to too, women, we are forced in this society to really lean into masculine energy. We are very, very masculine in the competition, in being expected to not only work, but manage a household, have children. Like most women are doing all of the things. And it's kind of looked down upon to lean into the femininity and have our feminine aspects be celebrated just in and of themselves, that we're forced to do all of these things that are masculine. And by middle age, most of us are fucking exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe in a way, menopause is a way that your body is like giving you a kick in the ass and being like, listen, you need to slow the fuck down.
Yeah. Yeah. That it's okay to make yourself a priority now.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I think I can imagine that is part of the lesson in that. Yeah. Yeah.
That's another way that women are just the badassery of women, right? So we are, and the modern woman particularly, we're expected to have careers, raise children, come home, keep a house clean, and make dinner and look good all at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it is exhausting. And so I think you reach a point that if you have a lot of symptoms and at this stage, some women, they go through it with a breeze. Some women might listen to this and think, what are they talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
But for those of us that have had a struggle during the midlife years, it is a time where you can't ignore it anymore. You have to make yourself a priority, because if not, you're not going to make it. I'm at a point now where my daughter just graduated college. She's going to be off the payroll and financially independent.
I use that phrase all the time.
and this is the time where I'm ready to get to the gym, and I'm ready to read and yoga and meditate and all those things that as a person I have to fight for. I'm ready to adjust it, and I feel so grateful to be in a position to be able to do that.
Wouldn't it be so great if we lived in a world where we were just given permission to take care of ourselves before we hit some breaking point,
Yeah, weird.
It just drives me crazy. It drives me absolutely insane that it takes really significant things in our lives to force ourselves and the people around us to allow a break.
And it's so interesting if you look at it from a cultural perspective, right? I think it's part of the American disease of work, 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 go, go, go. And then there's other cultures that you work a couple hours a day and that's enough. And then you spend time with family and community and connection. It's that cultural piece as well that really impacts us.
Yeah. And there are enough resources in the world for every single human on this planet to live abundantly in that way, in community. And I would like to believe that we're in a period of time where we are ushering that in, and hopefully faster than progress has been in the past. century.
We've gotten science and advancement is great, right? I'm so happy to have HRT. Right. I'm really happy with my hormone replacement therapy, but also modern culture and society has got us living this facade of what life is. I mean, we're disconnected from nature and our natural rhythms and all of that. And it's easy to believe, but that's not how we were created. I don't know. We've been on fast forward with this evolution and
Mm-hmm. And connection. I believe that I think all women would be happier and healthier if we had community. Women used to sit together when they menstruated. I just had a beautiful experience getting my yoni steamed. And it was
what?
my yoni. My yoni is a word for womb. And
Oh.
so you've never heard of a yoni steaming? Oh my God.
I was going to ask you, you had it steamed?
Yeah. Yeah. So it was a beautiful, beautiful ceremony where a friend has handmade these boxes with a hole in the top.
Okay.
And you go and, you move together to kind of open up your womb area. And this is an ancient practice that lots of different cultures have used. And so then you go and select the herbs that you put in your bowl, and you put hot steaming water in the bowl, put the bowl under the box. Everyone's wearing skirts, long skirts, and you sit upon the box, and literally the steam for 45
minutes.
Box
on the box.
Yeah, you put your box on the box, and you sit, and we sat together and shared stories and sang, and it was just such a beautiful experience of community and celebration of womanhood. And people were at various stages in their lives and different relationships with our yonis and just sharing where we are. I think if we had more of that, that would open up these conversations.
Right.
And I think just give a lot of healing and help all of us move through these periods of transition with more ease.
Right. Right. Yeah, it gives the opportunity for conversation and talking, right?
Maybe that's another positive thing about the swinger community is that you're in this place of vulnerability, and people are generally very, very open, and they're much more likely to be very transparent about the hormones they're taking and what they're experiencing and how to mediate these issues, just because it's just a place where people talk about everything. But there aren't many places in the society, like you go to the grocery store and talk about perimenopause, but most people don't. So maybe we can find ways, and the internet, I think, does help in that way, where there are places where you can get information and find community. But I think it's like the physical being with people and exchanging energy makes a real difference.
My mother retired to Ecuador 20 years ago. And she's an expat and living on the coast of Ecuador, and she's about to turn 81 this week. And it's been fascinating watching her create this life because there's just this hub of expats. It's a small group of people from different places around the world. They've come together and created this community, and because they're in this foreign land, and a lot of them don't speak the language. They don't have family. They just have each other. And just seeing them through necessity come together and create this family and connection, it's a beautiful thing. And I think, if we had that here, but how do you create it? We live often away from our family. Maybe you get community through work. Maybe you get it through church. Yeah.
They don't. Yeah.
So we have to, I guess, find it, make it.
Yeah.
And
I think these structures are crumbling. And I think that it will get us to a point where we're going to be forced to rely upon each other. And as challenging as the time we are in is, I think that there will be something really beautiful that will be built afterward that really is more in the vein of the feminine energy than this masculine energy we've been living in for so long.
Well, I don't want to get political, but the one thing that we did learn this last election is that our culture, we're not ready for a woman leader. We will take anything before we will put a woman in charge. And I still think that we're a threat. We have a long way to go, but it's a compliment. It's a compliment.
Yeah. And I think that women are realizing our power and quietly gathering together, and making change within ourselves and with other people and building community. I've said this many times on this podcast. I think it's a really exciting time to be alive and to be witnessing what's happening. But
it's such an opportunity to stretch across the generations, right? So, as a 51-year-old, I am so moved and inspired by the younger women in my life, and and then I look to the older women and calling upon each other.
Exactly. I love being the age that I am. I'm 44, and I feel like I can hang with the young people, but I can also hang with the older people. And so like being right in the middle is a really fun stage to be in.
Well, and it brings up one last thing for me, really, is just looking at the older women and men and looking at our older generation and putting value on them. That they have so much experience and so much wisdom. And we need to care for them and just see their value as people.
I agree. Somebody said something to me recently that really resonated, that in order to have a desire to stay alive, you need to feel relevant. And we can help older people be relevant because they are relevant. They have, as you said, so much wisdom. What's challenging in this society and these structures too is people don't feel like they have time to sit and be with and integrate older generations too. And they're kind of isolated because we're all so fucking busy all the time.
Right.
And this is just not the ideal way to treat other human beings. Yeah. Darcy, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you wanted to cover?
Thank you for having me, and it's been a fun conversation, and I guess I would like to encourage women to be vulnerable and honest with other women, and through that connection will happen, and and that's, I think, where happiness is.
I agree. And what's next for you? What's coming up in the next few months that you're excited for?
Well, taking care of myself.
Good.
Yeah, that's it.
Any specific ways? Are you traveling at all?
I'm traveling. I will be going to Ecuador to see my mom and spending a few weeks there, bringing some old friends from high school and college, or they're all going to come with me. There's like a group of 8 of us.
Oh, so you're like hosting a retreat in Ecuador?
Yes, if you will. But, sunsets and whale watching, and we're doing that, and some music. We'll be headed over to 4848 in West Virginia, which is, for me, I used to love camping festivals, but I like 4848 because you have a condo, you have a kitchen and a bed. So for this age, that I'm all about comfort and not apologizing for that anymore.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much again.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Goddess in Training. I hope something in this episode stirred your knowing or softened your heart. If it spoke to you, share it with someone who needs it, or leave a review or comment to help others find us. If you're watching on YouTube, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. If you want to hear more conversations like this, please consider supporting Goddess in Training on Patreon. For more tools and offerings to deepen your intuition practice, visit goddessintraining.online. You can also join the Scroll of Sashat on Substack for twice-weekly stories of how I followed my intuition. The music for Goddess in Training is Madre Ayahuasca by Arkawa, and you can find more of his music in the link to his website in the show notes. Remember, your intuition is not a mystery, it's a memory. Keep listening. Madre Ayahuasca, resplandor de fuego, estrellita, tabaco santo, fuerza de rapé, soplo de luz, soplo encantado, viajecito, bendición del cielo, fortaleza, tigrecito de la selva, Madre Ayahuasca.